Hi everyone, welcome to Economics per se. My name is Chigmi and we're going to be taking our macroeconomics journey together. The first chapter we're going to be looking at is the science and data of macroeconomics. Topic at hand today is what is macroeconomics? So economics is basically the study of how resources are utilized. In a more formal tone, it's the study of the efficient allocation of scarce resources. These resources can be anything from money to time or even groceries. The question is, are you using them efficiently? Now, keeping this definition of economics in mind, macroeconomics is the study of the economy as a whole, whereas microeconomics is the study of individual choices. Philip will be discussing microeconomic topics in a separate playlist. Now, let's start with some questions. Why are there inequalities in income within and among countries? Why are certain products more expensive in certain countries? Why and how does the number of jobs in a country change? Can government policies help during times of economic troubles? Should governments get involved at all? These are all questions left for the macroeconomists to answer. Macroeconomics is extremely important in politics as well, because the number of the votes that an incumbent politician will receive will depend on the condition of the economy. Should the US not have imposed sanctions on China? How has China reacted to sanctions in the international market? Is Canada's debt harmful or helpful for the growth of the economy? These are all politically relevant macroeconomic questions for you to answer, given that the decisions are made by politicians, but people like you influence their decisions based on the macroeconomic research you conduct. Now, although some form of aggregate economics existed since ancient Greece, macroeconomics was brought to the forefront by the British economists John Maynard Keynes. Keynes's theory or the policy recommendation he gave to the United States government was to increase government spending in order to enhance aggregate demand. Now, and this recommendation that he gave is considered to be one of the main reasons for limiting the damages of the Great Depression in the 1930s. Now, however, this is not to say that the principles of macroeconomics do not need to be altered. Macroeconomists have to be problem solvers who can be creative and flexible enough to meet the ever-changing problems of the global economy. Even today, here in Canada, programs like the Canada Emergency Response Benefit or the wage subsidies that the government of Canada is offering to fight the hardships of COVID-19 are all an effort to sustain aggregate demand. The government just wants to ensure that people will continue spending so that producers can continue producing. Now, having understood that, let us familiarize ourselves with a few terms that you will see every day as you study macroeconomics. First important term is the real GDP, the gross domestic product. Now, everybody knows what GDP is, but it's really important to understand real GDP. Whereas GDP is the value in money of all goods and services produced in a country at a time period, real GDP is the GDP adjusted to changing prices. So we're literally taking inflation out of GDP. Real GDP can also be called the measure of the total income of everyone in the economy. Hence, real GDP per capita is the income of the average person in the economy. We will learn how to calculate real GDP in topic 3. The second term that I'd like you to familiarize yourself with is the inflation rate. So, inflation is the overall rise in price levels, and the inflation rate tells us how quickly price levels are increasing. So, prices are increasing when the inflation rate is above 0, and when it's below 0, prices are falling. A decreasing inflation rate still means increasing prices as long as the rate is above 0. Now, you might ask, increasing or decreasing compared to what? There's something called the base year price, which we will discuss in topic 3. The last term is the unemployment rate. And the unemployment rate is the proportion of the labor force that is not employed or self-employed. Some unemployment will always persist, but we'll discuss that in topic 3. In the next video, however, topic number 2, we will discuss how macroeconomists build models and use them to see how variables like GDP are determined and how and why it changes when and if they interact with other variables. We will use the most popular economic model, the demand and supply model. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe and share. See you next time.